Now you are host now.
Thank you, Abhishek. Hi, good evening to all. Um, Welcome to the session of CCSR, which is a certified corporate social responsibility, certificate in corporate social responsibility. So I see a lot of faces today. I mean, we are more than around 40 people, and this session is also being streamed on YouTube. So the link has been shared in the WhatsApp group where you all are part of it. And you can share it with your near and dear ones who wants to join this, watch this online. Um, that would be great, right? Now, before I start with the session, I would like to know from um, all of you a small, a slight background of mine. I have been working within the domain of CSR since last 18 years now, and I started my career with Ripples. I'm also into POSH training. I also take care of SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, and ESG. So that's my brief background of CSR and the work profile. Um, would like to know from you guys that how much do you know about CSR? Are you aware of it? Are you already working within the domain? If a quick, introduction of yours can happen on the chat, you guys can type over there in the chat. That would be great. Yep. Anyone who wants to share, what is your any idea about CSR? Are you working? Hi, Ranjan. Hi, Nagin. Right, right. Maintainer. Okay, Mr. Raju. Great. Yes, Tashta. Newly introduced to CSR projects and policies. Okay, great. Good to know that. Right. Anyone else? Yeah. Yeah, Jyoti from CSR. And you understand that as a society, we have to give back something to the nature. Oh, great. Is Deepika, Ranjan, Debadrita, Vijay Kumar from NGO, Deepika Shankar, you're an HR by profession. Okay, you have a basic. Okay, nice. Nice to know that. Great. So most of you have an idea. Some of you are new to it. Um, that sounds good, right? And I'm waiting for a few more responses, and then probably I'll start with the session. Right. So Venkat Rajesh used to help me get people through NGOs. CSR is part of my profile. Sarika, Devendra Omkar, CSR, where an organization has to do something for betterment of society and upliftment of living conditions of downtrodden people of the society. Yeah. Okay. Vijay Kumar, Amit, um, working not for profit organization, right? Foundation. Have some idea about CSR. Okay, great. Sashwati, working in a manufacturing company as an HR head, we generally outsource the CSR responsibility, trusts and bodies. Abhishek Kumar, as per my understanding, every MNC company is supposed to contribute out of their profit towards the benefits of the society. Nice, good. So that's a good response. And based on this, I will start my session today and introduce you to the concept of CSR and what it does to people in general, and how it is implemented when it was incorporated. I mean, when the mandate came, how it is practiced in India, and a little bit idea about how it is practiced globally across the various countries, you know. So let us start with a small introduction of our session, where I will take you through what exactly is CHRMP and what do we do, how old we are as an organization. So yes, CHRMP.com is the website, and we have some important information for you. It is known as Certified Human Resource Management Professional. It's a certificate course which was started in, or almost 15 years back, and it has been. We have been able to reach out to more than 12,000 people. We have alumni of more than 12,000 people across the globe, certified professionals across corporations, government agencies, and NGOs. We have been able to touch more than 58 countries across 6 continents, and more than 1,000 organizations. Top 23 of top Fortune 100 companies are part of our clientele, where we provide these kind of trainings. It is a certified HR professionals are transforming HR practices worldwide. CHRMP certified HR professionals are transforming HR practices worldwide. Um, and a lot of things are happening within CSR. One second. Types of organizations with whom we are, I mean, to whom our services are being delivered. We are working with Fortune 500 companies, top 23 in top 100. Walmart, JP Morgan, Amazon, Ford, General Motors, Target, Citigroup, Samsung, Wells Fargo, HSBC, PepsiCo, GE, FedEx, Volvo, Cisco, Siemens, Tesco, Accenture, Xiaomi, McKinsey, Hilton, Visa, Nike, Honeywell, and many more. Financial institutions where we have delivered our services or we are still working with them: RBI, First Abu Dhabi Bank, HSBC, Citi, PwC, Deutsche Bank, First Capital Bank Limited, State Bank of Mauritius, Nepal Investment Bank, Oceanic Bank, Nigeria, Afghanistan Development Bank, National Insurance Corporation Philippines, Union Bank of India, Kotak Mahindra, Gazanfar Bank, BNB Bhutan. Some of the startup unicorns with whom we are working: Oyo, Ola, Baiju, Swiggy, Elastic Run, Family, ThoughtSpot, White Hat Junior, Fable, Shipsy, Multi Recruit, Springboard, Lido Learning, Bear, Biocon, Microlabs, Bristol, United Nations, Aga Khan Foundation, Women for Afghan Women.org, Greenpeace, World Vision, Uganda, and many more. Some of the governmental organizations we have where we deliver our services are Reserve Bank of India, Bhutan National Bank, Public Works Department, Ashgal Qatar, SFF, Somali Football Federation, Family Planning Association of Malawi, Directors of Project Monitoring Asaba, Nigeria, Indian Army, Republic of Kazakistan, Limited Liability, Indian Air Force, Delta State Job and Wealth Creation Bureau, Nigeria, Civil Services Commission of Afghanistan, some prominent Indian companies. You can see here some names, and some of them have been repeated, what we saw in the previous slides as well. Some new names, what you see here is Adani Reliance, ICICI, Union Bank of India, Karur Vyasa Bank, MSPL, Muthoot, Airtel, ABB, Mphasis, United Spirits, Dabur, JSW, Himalayan Drug Company, and many more. The countries where we are working or we have a presence is India, Nigeria, Afghanistan, Nepal, UAE, Bangladesh, Kenya, Somalia, Zambia, Jordan and Sri Lanka, Oman, Peru, Iran, Iraq, Bhutan, People Republic of China, New Zealand, Egypt, Lebanon, South Africa, etc. I would request people to refrain from using the annotate. Right. Okay. So what we're going to talk about today is CSR, navigating the present and shaping the future, driving strategic CSR. Now, CSR is known as corporate social responsibility. This is a term which has been given uh, to the work, social responsibility or social work, which is done by the corporate world towards the society, right? That's the basic concept of CSR. And globally, it is being practiced in different parts of the world. And uh, India is the first country, the first nation to have it as a part of the, as a mandate. It has been introduced as a mandate within our country, right? So we are one of the unique countries where it has been introduced as part of the mandate. It is part of the company law, and it has to be practiced within our country if I am registered as an organization. Now, why do organizations need to give back to the society? So there is a concept we talk about that uh, every corporate which is registered or every company which is registered in our organization, sorry, in our country, they have a separate entity. They are considered as a separate entity. Now they need to be registered as a private limited or even a Section 8 company or a limited liability company or a partnership. All these organizations are basically a separate entity. Sorry, not the partnership, but limited liability partnership or private limited or limited organizations, right? And since they are a separate entity, so they have some duty back to the society they are operating from. So it is as good as being a citizen, though they are not technically a citizen, but they have to give back to the society, you know. And this is where CSR comes into the place, into the picture. So how exactly the corporate is giving back to the society? The way which was found or derived was a CSR. So corporate social responsibility came into the picture because of this. Now, before I move ahead, I would like to talk about certain myths, some provisions, and some myths which are in relation to CSR. Right. The first myth, which is there in relation to CSR, is that it is only meant for large corporations. Actually, that is not the scenario. Any organization which is falling into the purview of the policy has to, uh, you know, contribute towards CSR. So the law says if a company's profit is 5 crores or the company's turnover is 1,000 crores or the valuation of the company is 500 crores, if either of these three are true, then is true, then in that case the company has to contribute towards the CSR. So any organization, uh, who has a profit of 5 crores and above, or an organization who has a valuation of 500 crores, or an organization who has a turnover of 1,000 crores, they all fall into the ambit of CSR. That is the first myth that we usually listen to. The second one is that CSR is just a marketing strategy. Actually, it is not. It is not at all a marketing strategy. It is about genuinely giving back to the society, creating the future of this particular country where you are operating. And it is based on certain guidelines. And these guidelines are known as national guidelines. They're also, earlier it was known as national voluntary guidelines, this which was given by United Nations. And these guidelines are inspired by the human rights of people overall, right? So it is not just about marketing, it is also about how do we operate as an organization. And that is an important aspect to this. The next important aspect or myth of CSR is that most of the people think that it reduces the profitability of organization, which is completely incorrect. Um, the it actually enhances the profitability of an organization, because when you show that you are ready to share some portion of your profit for the development of the society and you want to give back to the society, then it also increases the loyalty of your customers and consumers and towards you as an organization. So there is a brand loyalty what the organization gains out of it, and the positioning is also changed. It also helps the organization to identify new markets and find out new places to work upon. In fact, in the last 10 years, most of the companies have been able to change their entire strategy of production and the products what they're working upon. In fact, they're moving towards sustainable business over a period of time, which is a wonderful change what you see. So it is not, it never does not reduces the profitability of the organization, right? So what are we going to touch upon today? What are we going to learn in today's session? So we have an overview of CSR policy in India. And apart from that, we explore the evolution of CSR policies over the last decade. Then CSR and SDG 2030, understand how CSR initiatives can be strategically aligned with sustainable development goals. Then Schedule 7 of Section 135 of Companies Act 2013, gain insight into the specific activities permissible under the CSR framework. Analytics in CSR, learn how to leverage data analytics to study the evaluation and impact of CSR initiatives. And finally, impact, social return on investment and reporting. Develop skills in measuring and reporting the social return on investment and other impacts of CSR projects, right? So that's the overview of our session. Now, as an introduction, the bigger picture that we are talking about is corporate sustainability, right? And under that, we have another umbrella, which is called corporate social responsibility. The focus of corporate social responsibility is on profit, planet, and people overall, right? So what is profit? So profit is basically the economic responsibility of the corporate, and planet means the environmental responsibility of the corporate towards towards the environment, and then social responsibility, which is the people, that is the society. So economy, ecology, and society, that is what is taken care of under this umbrella, right? The next step of CSR, or the next level of CSR, which is corporate social responsibility, is corporate sustainability, right? So how do we see it? What is the first and foremost thing for a company to take care of? The most important and fundamental duty of an organization is to be profitable. That is the economic responsibility, the foundation upon which all the other things rest. That is the foundation. Unless an organization doesn't become profitable, doesn't have good amount of revenue and profit, it will not be able to do any other thing overall. Now, once they achieve that, then they reach to the next level, which is legal responsibilities, which is obeying the law. Law is society's codification of right and wrong. Play by the rules of the game. If you register your organization, you have to file ROIs, you have to file your taxes, and you have to update your information on the portal of MCA, which is Ministry of Corporate Affairs, as an organization. Right? So what have you done in terms of business for the entire year? How many sales? What is the profit? What is the loss? What is the revenue, total turnover of the organization? How many people are working within your organization? All those reports have to be submitted over there, um, on the portal, right? So these are falling under the purview of legal responsibilities. There would be other responsibilities, whether you are following or whether you are implementing labor laws within your organization or not, whether you are able to implement the what we call as the human rights within your organization or not. All these will be part of the legal responsibilities what that an organization has within their company, right? Um, the next part is ethical responsibility. So what we have done first as a company, we have taken care of the economic responsibilities. Now we have taken care of the legal responsibilities, and then finally we move upon to the next level, which is the ethical responsibility. So being ethical is an important obligation to do what is right, just and fair, avoid harming people, avoid harming individuals, you know, avoid harming uh, environment. So that is my ethical responsibility as an organization, right? I should definitely do my best to ensure that every move, every decision which I take as an organization is right, and it is just, and it is fair, right? Once I have been able to take care of all these three major fundamental responsibilities as an organization, the fourth responsibility which is there is philanthropic responsibility, which is being a good corporate citizen, contribute resources to the community, improve quality of life of people in general, right? That's what, or that's how I would um, suggest that these are the four fundamental pillars of any organization overall with respect to their operations, right? So it starts from economic responsibilities, legal responsibilities, ethical responsibilities, and philanthropic responsibilities. Now, what are the different aspects or the guiding principles on which the entire CSR is based upon? So we have human rights, we have labor rights, we have environmental rights, and we have anti-corruption uh, guidelines. So principle one is basically businesses should support and respect the protection of internationally proclaimed human rights for everyone who's associated with the organization, be it stakeholders, be it people who are working, shareholders, the employees, the vendors, the consumers, the beneficiaries, everyone is considered in. And then we have the next one, which is make sure that they are not complicit in human rights abuses, right? They should give equal weightage or equal, there should be a parity between the employees. No partiality has to be done. Equal opportunities have to be given, has to be given to everyone. And they should not be in a discrimination on the basis of gender, on the basis of ethnicity, background, and work of people overall. So that is what is the human right angle. The next one is the rights of labor. So businesses should uphold the freedom of association and the effective recognition of the right and collective bargaining, which is, the right to create union within the organization. That has to be within the company. The next one is the elimination of all forms of forced and compulsory labor, right? Any kind of slavery, any kind of bonded labor has to be, you know, uh, should not be practiced within an organization. In fact, the next point is in tandem with that there should be effective abolition of child labor within the organization. The elimination of discrimination in respect of employment and occupation has to be taken care of. The next one is in relation to environment. So Principle 7 says businesses should support a precautionary approach to environmental challenges. How much water is being used, how much carbon is being emitted by the organization, what is the waste material, and where exactly this waste material is being discharged, whether it is in the water bodies or is it impacting the the water bodies or the water level below the ground. How is it impacting the area nearby? All those things actually come under environment. Undertake initiatives to promote greater environmental responsibility, encourage the development and diffusion of environmentally friendly um, technologies. And the last one is anti-corruption. Businesses should work against corruption in all its forms, including extortion and bribery. Right. These are the 10 basic principles. Based on that, we got the guiding principles or the national guidelines, which the first principle says that businesses should conduct and govern themselves with integrity and in a manner that is ethical, transparent, and accountable. Right. We call it as class. We say that you must have credibility, you must have legitimacy, you must have accountability. Then you must be service oriented, and finally you would have some power as well. So if any organization which was actually working within any in a setup, they should conduct and govern themselves with integrity under CLASP, what I mentioned. Then principle 2 is businesses should provide goods and services in a manner that is sustainable and safe. What is the quality, what they are producing? That is very, very important because ultimately it is being used by people, by consumers. It should not harm their health. It should not be a threat to their life, and it should not impact their health in any way, right? Also, it should also be something which can be used in future, and it is sustainable. That is the kind of product that we have. It should not impact the lives and environment of people overall. Principle 3 talks about businesses should respect and promote the well-being of all employees, including those in their value chains. So whether it is the permanent employee or the temporary employee or the contractual employees, regular employees, all of them should be taken care of. Their well-being should be taken care of. There should be both mental as well as physical well-being is important for them. Their safety has to be taken care of, right? So this comes under labor laws, and this also is being implemented through HR policies and the code of conduct that we have in the organization, right? Then principle 4 talks about businesses should respect the interest of and be responsive to all its stakeholders. Every stakeholder, whosoever is the stakeholder of the organization. And when I say stakeholder, I also mean that the individual or the person could be a shareholder, could be a customer, could be a vendor, could be an employee, could be part of the board, or could also be a usual visitor in the organization, right? Principle 5 talks about businesses should respect and promote human rights. We all have human rights, and it should be, uh, you know, protected, and it should be taken care of within the office premises. Principle 6 says businesses should respect and make efforts to protect and restore the environment where it is operating. Then Principle 7 says businesses, when engaging in influencing public and regulatory policies, should do so in a manner that is responsible and transparent. And Principle 8, businesses should promote inclusive growth and equitable development overall, where everyone gets equal opportunity, everyone's needs is taken care of, and all the people who are part of that particular organization, they get the maximum benefit while working within the organization, right? The last principle, which is the ninth principle, the ninth principle talks about businesses should engage with and provide value to their consumers in a responsible manner, right? So every consumer has to be taken care of, and they should provide value to each and every one of them, and one should operate in a responsible manner, right? Now let us see where should the corporations or big corporations be spending their resources overall, right? Now, the first thing what we talked about is that at the bottom level is CSR as a corporate philanthropy, right? Which is providing funding and providing skills. So that is the purpose of it. The impact would be little strategic and operational impact. Benefits would be they would be corporate philanthropy and sponsorships, short-term benefits, not always sustainable, limited funds available, impact diluted because limited budget is allocated to many charities, corporate competencies and other business assets not fully utilized, misalignment between businesses and social responsibility strategies and functions. It might result in minimal social and business impact of social programs. So this is not bad, but the impact is not very effective overall if you see, because it is not scalable and it might not also be sustainable overall when we talk about this practice, right? Now, so over a period of time, what happened that CSR moved up the ladder and it also started investing money. CSR as risk management thing. So it was the purpose was basically seen as compliance. It is medium to high strategic and operational impact. It mitigates operational impact, mitigates operational risks, and supports external relationships with organization. The last stage is CSR as value creation. This is an important aspect of CSR. So what is the purpose over here? The purpose is basically innovative and promotes sustainable business model. And impact is fundamental strategic and operational impact, right? So the benefits are basically shared values. Business institutions and communities, they shared certain values together, and then they promote competitiveness and innovations. They also promote a sustainable business model. They integrate businesses into the community, develop human capital, and key in developing countries, incorporated into business strategy, right? So that's the flow, or that's how any organization would start spending under CSR. That is one structure that I can talk about over here. So if the organization is small, they start with philanthropy and then they move to the risk management, and then finally they go towards the level of CSR value creation. So what is CSR? How do we define CSR? Internally, for any organization, the internal areas of responsibility under CSR is market responsibility, economic efficiency, legal compliance without loopholes, right? That is what is CSR, which means the first two levels. Remember, I talked about the first two levels, which is economic responsibility and legal responsibility. And the middle areas talks about values, environmental standards, labor standards, supply chain management, stakeholders. That is what is the middle level thing, right? Which is again talking about the ethical responsibilities, right? And then the last one is external areas of responsibility, which is contributions, corporate givings, sponsoring, social activities, corporate volunteering. These are the last external areas of responsibility, which is, again, I'm taking you back to this, which is philanthropic responsibilities of the organization. How do they interact and work with the organizations, right? With the society overall. Now, there is something called theaters of CSR. Now, before I plunge into this particular area or a domain, which is theaters of CSR, you must be wondering what exactly is theaters of CSR. Whether I'm going to show you some movie or something, no, or I'm taking you to PVR. Was it, or what exactly does it mean? Now, well, the most important thing is that what are the various levels in which these CSR activities are categorized and how it is implemented uh, in various parts of the world, including India, right? So there was some survey and there was some study which was done by Harvard Business Review in 2015, and I think they did a survey with more than 140 or 150 organizations who were pursuing some course there, and they tried to figure out that what are the strategies which are used and how it is used in at different levels in the organization. So let's see. So the first theater where community perspective is taken care of and CSR leaders go and interact with the community, that is known as uh, theater one, where all the leaders, they go out, they talk to the people in the society, they work in the social sector, they look into the challenges which is being faced by these the people outside who are directly or indirectly interacting with the organization. So it is completely with respect to the community perspective, where we need CSR leaders to interact externally, right? Then the functional perspective, which is basically operations and leaders, where they change the processes and systems, maybe supply chain management, or any other processes which will lead to some CSR activity over a period of time, right? So that change brings a new solution which also act as a CSR activity for the organization in the longer run. The last theater, which is theater three, there we have business perspective. And here the strategy leaders who are sitting in the boardroom and who are at the senior level, they create such business strategies or such business activities that impacts the entire operations of the organization in the longer run, and the products and services which are being provided by them, they are sustainable, they are pro the society, and they take care of all the 9 principles which were mentioned in the guidelines of CSR. Right. Now, collectively, any organization, they work at all the 3 levels, and when they work on all the 3 levels, they are able to create a long-term impact within the society through CSR, right? So the CSR leader would work in tandem with operations leader, and then finally they would work in tandem with strategy leader, and the implementation would start from theater one, and then it will culminate at theater three, right? Here is an example. As I mentioned, that I think around 142 people respondents were actually surveyed, and this is what they found overall. So number of respondents, industries represented: manufacturing, consumer, packaged goods, extractive minerals, financial services, media, telecommunication, and others, right? So total number of programs, number of CSR programs underway in the respondent firms was 1,072, out of which 48% actually fall into theater one, which is philanthropy, and 39% falls into the theater two, which is operational improvements, and 13% falls into theater three, which is business model transformation, right? What is the benefits? So percent of respondents who identified the following as top benefits of their firm's CSR initiative. The 84% people felt in philanthropy level, which is theater one, that it improves company's social standing, supports company's philanthropic priorities, improves company's social standing, increase employees' motivation, 67%. And in theater two, it improves company's social standing, 94% of people believe that. And improves company's environmental impact, 62% of people feel so. And protects resources on which the company depends, that is 58%. Creates an important solution to a social environmental problem, which is 89%. Promises long-term gains, 82%. Addresses senior in management social environmental mission, which is 82%. The next is, what is the impact of this on business? So percent of respondents who identified the following as impacts under theater one and theater two, and or anticipated impacts under theater three of their firms under CSR initiatives. So 13% felt that there is an increase in revenue. 41% feel that there is an increased cost and increased revenue in theater one. In theater two, the increased revenue is considered to be 32%, reduced cost was 32%, and increased cost was 35%, right? Then in theater three, we have increased revenue as 31%, reduced cost as 35%, and increased cost as 36%, right? So these are the survey, the outcome of a survey which was done in 2015 by HRBR, and these were certain set of responses what they got in terms of which theater has what kind of impact in terms of CSR initiatives, right? So what is the motivation of an organization and how does it impact their decision? Why, what is the benefit on which they decide that what kind of activities they would do and how it is going to impact the organization? So one benefit you see here at theater, one motivation benefit to the company is generates new business opportunities, which is 23%, improves company social standing 60%, improves company's brand reputation 60%, increases um, employee motivation, which is 49%, supports company's philanthropic priorities, initiatives 34%, reflects preferences of operating managers 34%. That is at the level of theater one of CSR practices. Theater two is motivation benefit to the company, where they talk about it creates new business opportunities, which is 36%, reduces operating costs 21%, improves supply chain performance 19%, improves company's environmental impact, which is 40%, and protects resources on which the company depends upon. It's 33%. Markets to socially responsible consumers 36%. So that's the motivation for all the organizations who are operating at the level of theater two, which is the operational and functional level, right? Theater three is motivation. The motivation is promises significant and new business market opportunities, which is 59%, promises significant new operations or supply chain or manufacturing efficiency, that is 48%, then promises long-term gains by significantly changing its business environment, 96%, creates an important solution to a social or environmental problem, which is 78%, and fulfills senior management or chief executive's social mission, which is 67%. So these are basic set of motivation for the organization at different theater levels of CSR to operate upon, right? And clearly, here you see that the maximum benefit you see at level three, which is theater three, 96% is the set of long-term gains by significantly changing its business and environment. And just after that, 78% changes creates an important solution to a social or environmental problem. Then 67% fulfill senior management or chief executive social mission. That is what is the thing. So even the lowest one is promises significant new operations or supply chain or manufacturing efficiency. That is, that's considered as um, uh, what we see as 48%, which is the lowest in this particular theater or category, right? Which is way higher than other categories, which is theater one and theater two. Let's see what is next. Now, this is IBM Institute for Business Value. They talked about the CSR value curve for an organization. So what they talk about, it's also the repetition of what we have discussed till now. So legal compliance, which is adherence to the law in the countries of production, operations, and distribution, which is a basic foundational thing required for an organization. Then we have strategic philanthropy, which is alignment of charitable activities with social issues that support businesses' objectives. Then value-based self-regulations, incorporates the company's value system or code of conduct to guide business behavior. Then efficiency, measurable cost savings through efficient or win-win scenario, access to new markets, new partnerships or product, service, or innovations that generates value, right? So that's the curve of CSR value curve that we see over a period of time, which was given by IBM Institute of Business Value. Right. Now the next topic is what is CSR in India. Now, before I get into that, I will just pause for a moment and I would like to ask each one of you that are you able to follow? Do you have any questions? Were you able to understand what we talked till now? Right? Anything specific if you want me to address? Any questions? Please feel free to ask me questions. Anyone? Anyone? Any questions? Any doubt? Any observation? Any comment if you have?
Sir, I'm Sarika.
And
I would like to know what the meaning of the term philanthropy. How does it cover? I am not aware about it.
so philanthropy is basically an act of kindness towards, um, you know, uh, voluntarily I'm giving back to the society. Philanthropy is basically I work with people and I take care of people who are downtrodden and I give back to the society for the cause, which is important. So that is philanthropy, individual philanthropy activity or a corporate philanthropy activity. That is what is the idea of it. Was I able to
Uh,
answer the question?
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir Amit here.
Yeah,
May I
hi.
request you if you can give one example for each theater, as theater 1, theater 2, and theater 3? That will help me to understand more ending. Thank you.
That's a good question. Amit, let me just pull out something for you. Uh, in the meanwhile, if you have any other question, I'll have to pull out an example uh, from my database so that I can give you a proper answer to that. The meanwhile, if you have any other questions.
Vanita here.
Yeah, hi.
Hi. What do you think? What is the first step to give back to the society?
What is the first?
First step to give back to the society. How do we start that as a company?
As a company, or first check.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
first check. How do we would like to do something, okay, for as a CSR. So, what is the first step and how do we initiate that?
Hmm, hmm, hmm. See, the thing is, as an organization, you have to see that how you are impacting the environment around you, right?
Mhm.
Is there anything which needs your attention? For example, people who are staying beside your organization, the community you're operating within, uh, what is their standard of living? What is their need? Is their fundamental rights taken care of, right? Or their fundamental needs are taken care of? Is there too much of poverty or hunger? Or is there a proper, say, education facility for all the organizations and all the individuals over there or the residents of that particular area? What are the other challenges? Is there any natural calamity which is bothering that particular place, right?
Mhm.
So these are few things which you can think upon. Um, you can work. I'm going to talk about it further in the next set of slides. That what are the different activities that can be done,
Yeah.
which is part of Schedule 7 of Section 135 of Companies Law.
Mhm.
So I will definitely discuss that in detail. But yeah, to start with, this is how you can actually uh, you can take care of it. Right?
Okay, I'll wait for that session. I'll
Yeah,
wait.
I'm going to cover that.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanita.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Nagaya, you asked that is CSR service can be covered the employees of the no, CSR is specifically meant for people outside the organization. You cannot do it for your own employees. Uh, that will not be considered as CSR. So coming back to your question, Amit, I have the example for you. Amit, yes, I think
Yes, sir.
yeah. So see one example, if you can see on the screen, is basically Ambuja Cements, an industry subsidiary of Holcim. They
Hmm.
built a coherent portfolio that coordinates activities across theaters. So the examples are below. So under Theater 2, what they were doing was operational improvements. And what is the operational improvement? So since they were using fuel, so they wanted an alternative fuel program that needed to be launched and to increase the use of biofuels in the plant. Now, because they took this step within the organization, which is the functional perspective. You see here, I'm mentioning here that this is the functional perspective of the organization. So what they did was an alternative fuels program was launched to increase the use of biofuels in the plant. Right. The moment they did that, what happened was at the Theatre 1 level, a farmer education program was expanded to include instruction on recovering farm waste for use as biofuel. So they are also solving the problem for the farmers because of a change which they have adopted within their own organization. So you must have heard that farmers of India, they are actually you are facing a challenge in terms of what to do about the waste products, agricultural waste products, right? So this is one solution which has been given to the farmers just by one change in their entire functional perspective, right? Is this clear, Amit?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. The next one, if you see just below that, is the logistic one. So what is the logistic challenge? What they want to solve is under Theatre 2, what they did was a trucking safety program was initiated to reduce accidents for their truck drivers, right? Because they need a lot of truck drivers for their work, right? Now, there, what they were doing was basically the program was expanded to include education on alcohol, tobacco, and HIV/AIDS, right? So they created a safety program for the drivers, and it led to another program which was talking about education on alcohol, tobacco, and HIV/AIDS, which also was benefiting the society overall. The last stage, if you see, which is with respect to water. So what is the initiative that they took at the functional level? The initiatives were launched to reduce the firm's water use and treat its wastewater, right? So it resulted in a water recharge program, replenishes groundwater systems, and making formerly mined land arable again. Now, it also took them to the third level, which is Theatre 3, which resulted in reclaimed farmland with good water supply is offered to landowners in exchange for new land for mining, right? So that's, see, this is how it impacts overall business, if you see. So the last stage, the last one is basically talking about, the entire aspect of, say, Theatre 3. The business is changing over there. They are reclaiming farmland with good water supply, and the landowners are ready to exchange for new land for mining, right? So that's how you can actually make it a sustainable business over a period of time. So business model transformation happens at that level. Did I answer your question, Amit?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Amit. Yeah. Contract workers, internal stakeholders like our sourced workers can be spent. CSR funds who are working for us through NGO of ex-company members. So anyone who's actually in the cohort of the employee or defined as an employee would not come under the purview of CSR, right? It could be contractual employee, it could be subcontractual, it could be temporary employee. So they would not come under this particular purview. Nice. Do we have more questions? If not, then I will proceed from here. Okay. So let me just a second. Sorry. So CSR in India. In 2014, this law was implemented, 1st of April, and it started getting drafted in 2009. Dr. Bhaskar Chatterjee, who's considered as father of CSR in India, he is the one who drafted it. There were other members, Mr. Nikhil Pant, who were involved in the drafting of this particular policy way back in 2009. And it took around 2-3 years to come up with a good set of policy. Right? And when it was framed and when it was implemented, then finally the policy says that if the company's net worth is 500 crores, turnover is 1,000 crores, or net profit is 5 crores, if either of these three are true, then the organization has to give 2% of their profit. And this profit is calculated as the average profit of the last 3 years, last 3 fiscal years, right? And under this, we have two set of committees. One is the role of the board and the other is CSR committee. So the board forms a CSR committee. They approve the CSR policy, ensure implementation of activities under CSR, and ensure 2% is spent, disclose reasons for not spending the amount if applicable. And it is not just, now there are penalties also. So disclosure is not enough. What exactly CSR committee does? In a CSR committee, you have 3 or more directors with at least one independent director, and formulate and recommend a CSR policy to the board, recommend activities and the amount of expenditure to be incurred, and monitor the CSR policy from time to time, right? This is what, in a nutshell, in a very brief way, this is the CSR policy, which has been implemented in India in 2014, right? Now, under this, what are the activities that can be taken care of? So what things or what is covered under CSR policy? Activities. What kind of activities can be taken care of or can be conducted or can be practiced by the organization? So there is the policy is known as Section 135 of Companies Law. Under that, you have Schedule 7. And under Schedule 7, we have eradicating hunger and poverty, malnutrition, promoting healthcare, education and employment, enhancing vocational skills, gender equality and women empowerment, environment sustainability, protection of national heritage, art and culture, benefits to armed forces veterans, war widows and their dependents, promoting sports, contribution to central government approved funds, contribution to public funded universities, incubators, and public sector undertakings, rural and slum development, disaster relief. These are some of the activities. And if you go in detail, there are more than 21 activities that are done under this particular Schedule 7 that is mentioned. Right. So what is a responsibility, moral responsibility for the organization? Then you have CSR, which is corporate social responsibility. Moral responsibility is related to functional roles. Corporate social responsibility is related to business roles. And both of them are, moral responsibility is causation or impact, and CSR is impact relation. Moral responsibility is also in relation to legal responsibility, and CSR is also a legal responsibility. And finally, both of them are resulting into an accountability of the organization. Remember, I talked about CLASP philosophy, which is credibility, legitimacy, accountability, service, and power. So this is what is the idea of accountability for an organization. How exactly an organization can become accountable for whatever they are doing, right? Now, what is the cycle of the entire CSR implementation? So first and foremost thing, what any organization has to do is to create or develop a CSR strategy and policy, which will lead to the next level, which is operationalizing the institutional mechanism. How exactly they are going to implement it, who's going to lead it, who are the people who are going to, be a part or member of that particular department. Then due diligence of the implementation partner, finalizing the arrangement with implementing agency, project approval, project development, progress monitoring and reporting, impact measurement and report, consolidation and communication. So this is the entire cycle of CSR implementation from a company's or organizational perspective. I'll just repeat it for you. So the first stage is basically developing a CSR strategy and policy. This is done by the CSR committee. Before this, basically a CSR committee is created by the board of directors. And they also assign the duty to the CSR committee that you have to draft the policy and the strategy for the organization. Once the policy is drafted, then the organization gets, the CSR committee presents it to the board. They get the approval. On getting the approval, they operationalize the entire institutional mechanism, how to implement it, which means there is a step-by-step process which is decided that, okay, who's going to implement it, whether it is going to be done directly by the organization, or they're going to hire an NGO, outsource it to an NGO, or they are going to donate their money to a government institution or government project towards a government project, right? Whatever is the strategy, they will actually define it at that stage. Then there will be a due diligence of the implementing partner, which is any NGO who wants to, whom they want to hire or take the service with respect to implementing the program. Why do they need these implementing partner? So some of the organizations might not be aware of how to do things at the grassroots level. And these NGOs are already operating at the grassroots level over a period of time, maybe since last 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, or maybe 100 years. And they're an expert in terms of implementing all the CSR spend in the right manner at the grassroots level, so that it reaches to the last person at the bottom line, right? Finalizing the arrangement with the implementing agency. Now, once the due diligence is done, then they will sit along with the implementing agency. They will create the entire structure of the program, the project. The project would be minimum 1 + 3 years, which is 4 years or so. So the first year plus 3 more years to make it sustainable and scalable, right? And it should be a long-term project. It should not be one-off activity. It should be an activity which should actually change the lives of people over a period of time. Then we have project approval, project development. So you get the approval for the project, then you develop the project, then you define the progress, which is monitoring and reporting of the project. And finally, how do you measure, which is social return on investment? What is the impact of it? How many people get impacted? What is the quality of impact? That is also measured. And then it leads to report consolidation and communication. So that's the cycle of CSR. Who could be the potential stakeholders? So we have donors, CSR individuals, celebrities, HNIs, institutions, beneficiaries, institutions, ITIs, colleges, incubators, entrepreneurs, renewable energy, whatever domain you are working upon. Then you will have vendors, implementing agencies would be there. They would be monitoring and evaluation agencies. They would be auditing agencies and firms. And then finally, you have auditors and consultants of M&A, right? So these are different stakeholders. At the beginning, I did talk about an important aspect, which is sustainability, right? So CSR is also very much related to sustainability. And what exactly is sustainability? It is an amalgamation of society, economy, and environment. So you see the middle point where you have all the three taken care of. That is the space where you reach this or you achieve the sustainability within the economy or within the system, right? For a nation, for an organization, for a society, right? So that's the idea of sustainability. And United Nations actually came up with Sustainable Development Goals. There are 17 of them. Initially, it was introduced in 1992. And then at that point of time, it was known as Millennium Development Goals with 5 goals, and then later on expanded to 8 goals. And finally, they were actually expanded to 17 different goals. Earlier, there was they wanted to achieve it by 2015, but then there was some delay. There was some challenges. And finally, now the entire SDG goal has to be achieved by 2030. Most of the organizations, they have mentioned that they want to do it by 2030. So what are the goals that you see on the screen as no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, reduce inequalities, sustainable cities and communities, and responsible consumption and production, then climate action, life below water, life on land, peace and justice, strong institutions, and finally partnerships with for the goals with other organizations. So these are the SDGs that we have. This thing. Tushita, you have a point. So what is the point you mentioned? That could you please reiterate your point on 4 years timeline? So whenever you design a program as an organization under CSR, it should at least sustain for the next 4 years. It should not be a 1-year activity. The first year is the pilot year where you pilot the project and you see what is the feasibility of the project. And then apart from that, another 3 years are added to the first year, making it a 4-year program, right? So there is a possibility that after first year, it might be dropped. You might see that there is no feasibility in terms of implementing that particular project. But at least that program has to, or the project has to run for the 4 years, next 4 years, right?
Uh,
I think by,
hi, hi.
yeah.
I just wanted to add upon, if in case, what I understand from what you have just explained is, I'll give an instance. There is a school classroom or a school infrastructural development project ongoing. The decided timeline for the project completion is tentatively, you can say, for a year or maybe for a few months. So how do you bifurcate into this? Is it in terms of the project once it is completed and handed over? After that, we are considering the additional 3 years in terms of its sustainability and maintenance wise.
Yeah.
Okay,
You're
understood.
right. Yeah. So it has to be maintained as well. You have to hand it over to the school authority.
School authorities, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, understood.
And of course, they would be monitoring and evaluation that how exactly it is being used, what is the purpose. I mean, so they would have asked you for a donation or for the construction for a certain purpose, right? Whether it is being used for the same purpose or not, that also needs to be checked over a period.
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah. So, right. Now this SDG is aligned with all the CSR. I mean, is the other way around. All the CSR activities need to be aligned with the SDG, which is given by the the United Nations overall. So sustainable development goals, it can work on climate action, it can work on affordable energy, gender equality, enhancement, drinking, slum development, welfare funds, sanitation, women empowerment, then livelihood programs, culture, technology, incubation, for orphanage, for life and on land, inequalities. So it addresses all these things. So that is what is the amalgamation of SDG with CSR. So how does it look when you incorporate both of them together? So what are we achieving out of it? We are achieving a social sustainability. So how do we achieve or attain this social sustainability? So one of the ways is to have a corporate to attain corporate sustainability. Corporate sustainability would encompass economic sustainability, social sustainability, and environmental sustainability. Now, in sustainability framework, there are CSR policies. Then that leads to CSR initiatives, where you have program design, and then you have M&E monitoring and evaluation systems in place. And then you have business shared value, which is community development and social change, right? So these are both the ways. If you see, community development also leads to CSR initiatives, and CSR initiatives also leads to community development and social change, right? Similarly, corporate sustainability leads to CSR initiatives, and CSR initiatives leads to corporate sustainability. So that is two ways, both the sides it actually works, right? Now, what are the levers of monitoring system for CSR? What are the informal controls? So we need to have a belief system, strengthen CSR values, increase commitment, shared vision within the organization. Interactive control system has to be there, which is leverage stakeholder opinion for insight into additional CSR policies, opportunities, and what are the threats, right? What is the boundary systems, which basically stimulate innovation thinking, prevent sustainability risks, ensure compliance with sustainability norms, diagnostic control, which is develop measurable outcomes for CSR, cost effectiveness and value creation, assessment, internalize relative net benefits, enable CSR decision making, informal control, and whatever is the project CSR culture onto stakeholders, right? So this leads to high level CSR opportunistic behavior prevention is there. But finally, how do we align the CSR projects with the SDG? So there would be drivers of innovation, dimensions of innovation, and impacts of innovation. Now, what are the drivers of innovation? It could be sustainable development challenges. The focus is why and how, and it could be economical, it could be environmental, it could be social, technological advancements, or other CSR, SDG, or policy imperatives would be there. So we can pick up any of these drivers as drivers of innovation. And then we move into the dimensions of innovation, which is identifying where exactly the innovation would happen. So innovation as a process, economic development, developed or developing countries, industry sector, agriculture supply chain, tourism textile, or innovation as an outcome, which is focus, what kind of innovation that has to be done. What are the forms, which is inclusive, green, frugal, and what are the types, whether it is product or whether it is processes. So when we talk about product, whether it is solar product, IoT, food, fuel, water, blockchain, etc. When we talk about processes, whether it is in relation to agricultural, financial, or advisory. And you see, once we create the impact, so it could relate to either of these, say, the second one, which is no hunger, then availability of clean energy and affordable energy. Then you have life on land, climate change, SDG goal 13 and 4 and 9, and SDG goal 12 and 8 and 7 are in tandem with this particular activity, right? So when both of them come together, whether CSR or SDG, when they are implemented together, so it will bring in good performance, it will reduce the cost, it will provide working environment, alternative techniques would be given, right? Then we will have engagement of the community. We will also be able to have a positive impact on the environment. We will also be able to follow the compliance. The business will have more and more impact. It will become profitable. It will be able to change or touch the lives of maximum people in a positive way. It will become responsible, and it will become ethical. There would be a lot of sustained practices, and sustainability efficiency would be achieved through these different practices overall. So at the macro level, what do we focus upon? We focus upon world, which is the world population, which is sustainability, ability to meet present and future generations' need. What do they need? So they need a good environment to stay. They need good people, and economy has to be stable. And that is what is the sustainability at the macro level, which is world population in general. How is it going to impact the lives of people in general, right? Macro 2 level, global society, which is policies, so how exactly it is going to change or impact the lives at that level. So sustainable development, which is society's responsible evolution. So we have social equity, we have environmental preservation, and then we have responsible economic growth, which leads to sustainable development. And that is what is sustainable development goals are. At the micro level, which is CSR, corporate sustainability and responsibility, CSR, contribution of companies to sustainable development. So here the CSR activities are done, and then contributions to sustainable development happens. So then again, SDG Compass is used for measuring the impact of the CSR activity, and finally it reaches to the next level, which is the macro level of global society. So it starts from the micro level, where the CSR is happening at the company's level. And from there, it moves up to the SDG compass. And then it finally moves up to the next step, which is next level, which is macro level 2, global society policies, sustainable development for society's responsible evolution is created, and leading to the sustainability of overall world population, which is ability to meet present and future generations' need. So that's the process, and that is what we achieve. What we also talked about was social return on investment. So how do we calculate and how do we measure that? So stage 1 is basically establishing the scope and identifying the stakeholders. Stage 2 is mapping outcomes. Stage 3 is evidencing outcomes and then availability. Stage 4 is establishing impact. Stage 5 is calculating the SROI and reporting and embedding, right? Data collecting stages 1 to 3. There is an overlap between data collection and analysis in stage 4. Stage 5 is completely about analysis, and stage 6 is completely about dissemination stage, where we are creating the report and embedding it. Right? So what do we do at phase 1, phase 2? Set up indicators to measure the return, delineate the analysis and set up the program theory. And phase 3 and phase 4, we obtain the data, perform outcome evaluation. And then finally, stage 5 and 6, we calculate the return on investment and we present the results in stage 6. Right. So top phase, 4 ways of CSR impacts, top 4 ways in which the CSR impacts your business. It increased employee engagement, new talent attracted to your team, improved company culture, unique marketing opportunities. 77% of consumers aim to support socially responsible companies. 93% of employees believe companies must lead with purpose. 88% of individuals would like to know about companies' CSR efforts. 92% would buy a product that supports a good cause. Right. This is the cycle of CSR overall. So there has to be sincerity, responsibility, market resources, long-term sustainability, ethics, and goal. Right. What are the benefits of CSR for an organization? So when we talk about the benefits, it increases the customer retention for the organization, winning new businesses, saving money on energy and operating cost, differentiating yourself from the competitor, enhancing your influence in the industry, access to funding opportunities, media interest, and a positive reputation, attracting and maintaining a happy workforce, enhanced relationships with stakeholders, and finally winning new businesses. That is what is the benefit for a company with respect to benefits of CSR. Right. And how do we see the entire cycle? So first we do the need assessment and landscape studies, baseline studies and community aspiration mapping. This is basically how do you decide upon the project and the entire cycle of CSR for an organization. Then NGOs, due diligence, CSR project ideation, concept framework for new based projects, project monitoring and evaluation, midline and endline studies have to be done, and then impact assessment, and finally SROI, which is social return on investment, framework, design, training, and execution. Right. I'll come to the solution, CHRMP solution for if you want more information about CSR. But before that, I would like to invite some more questions from all of you in the meanwhile. Any questions, any thoughts? Anything you would like to talk about? Anything? Any questions? Any one of you?
This is Sharmila here from Vatsalya Trust.
Hi, Sharmila.
I'm sorry, I'm not able to come on video because there isn't light here.
No problem. No problem.
Yeah. So, I really like this part of the presentation. Looks like we're on two different worlds. There is one world that has the money and is really wanting to contribute to the, community, integrated to their company. But there is also an NGO entity, which is a powerful engine.
Yeah.
Okay. So we also work closely for SDGs, probably a lot more passionately than the companies, which are at least starting to do CSR. Is there a particular strategy? I really liked your array of, um, getting the proposal, getting the board approval, getting a good strategy, finding the right partners, doing the monitoring, all the, the works. So, like how in the previous section, there was a question, what are the basic baby steps for nascent NGOs and nascent companies to connect?
So, yeah, I was about to talk about it in detail, right? Let me just, if you're a new NGO, so NGO is part of this particular cycle where I mentioned implementing partners. So any NGO that is registered as a trust or a society or a Section 8 company, they become a implementing partner for the organizations, right, in CSR. So this is completely from the perspective of a CSR, how you are going to conduct or implement the CSR policy for a company, right? Now, what is the role of an NGO over here? These companies will become your donors over a period of time, right? If you're registered as a Section 8 company, one privilege you get is that you are eligible to get the funds from the day one when you get registered, right? I'll show you the FAQs, which is published on Ministry of Corporate Affairs portal and CSR portal. What the basic concept behind that is that Section 8 company is a not-for-profit organization, and the function of a Section 8 company is similar to that of a private limited. The only difference is that you cannot have profit out of it. So it eases the process of compliance for the organization. Hence, they prefer a Section 8 company. If you're a trust, if you're a very old trust and big and huge trust, it is easy for you to get it in terms of CSR funds. What they are focusing upon is how much of the compliance is being followed or it is being practiced within an NGO, right? If you guys or any NGO is having the right intention and they are doing the right work, the corporate is more than happy to help them, right? The amount would not be huge at the very beginning. It could start from 1 lakh to 10 lakhs, but it also shows that what is the intention and what is the problem you are solving at the grassroots level, right? If you are able to solve that particular problem, which is under the thematic areas of the organization, which is the corporate, then they will definitely partner with you. Also, one information that will help you is that all these organizations, it is mandatory for them to put their thematic area amount of money, what they are going to spend in the entire year, and the CSR policy on their website. They have to publish it. So any one of you, any one of us can go there because it is available in the public domain. And you can actually get the data from there that which organization is working towards what particular area, and you will get a good idea about it from their website, right? That's one way of doing it. The other way is I'll show you this website. Is my screen available? It's visible?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know whether you guys have explored this or not. This is the Government of India website of CSR. Okay. So when you go to this particular website, you will find all the details of the investments, spend under CSR in the last few years. So you see the latest, the oldest data which is available is 2018-19. The latest one is 2022-23. And this is the amount that has been spent under CSR in the last, in 2022 and 23. As per my information and data, what I have, For the year 2023 and 24, this amount has gone up to 32,000 crores, right? 40 states have been covered and Union Territories have been covered. What you see here is 59,966 projects, but I think for the last year, it has gone up to 55,000 projects, if I'm not wrong, in 14 development sectors. And this is the number of companies that invest or that spend towards CSR. What you see here is basically state-wise data. So how much money has been spent in Jammu and Kashmir? You go here, how much money has been spent in Himachal, Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand, Bihar. All that data is available over here. And the beauty is that, suppose I stay in Karnataka, so I can press Karnataka. When you go to Karnataka, you will see that in Karnataka, this is what is the investment, which is 1,985 crore. And 2,534 companies have contributed. 35 districts have been covered. Bellary is the topmost district. 12 sectors have been covered within this. What is Bellary? So I go to Bellary. Yeah, this is what is Bellary. Yeah. 189.49 crores have been spent in Bellary. And Bangalore Rural has 150.68 crores. So this is the data which is available. And if you want to find out that which company has spent how much amount of money, you will get that information also. So see here, Infosys is spending 180 crores. Biop Steel has spent 141 crores. Wipro has given 117 crores. Bharat Electronics 57 crores. This is only the data of Karnataka, specifically the data of Karnataka. And this is what I meant when I talked about analytics of CSR, right? Since you asked, so I'm covering it right now. And we study all these to come up with the analytics and how things are changing, which area is moving up and which area requires more attention. All those reports are created and shared, right? Even district-wise, you can see the data over here. Then if you go back, we have area-wise, encouraging sports, education, Prime Minister's National Relief Fund, health and sanitation, gender equality, women empowerment, then others, Swachh Bharat, slum development, other sectors, heritage and art and culture, EAC, any other fund, Clean Ganga Fund, and there are many more. So which state is getting the highest? So Maharashtra is getting 5,497 crores. Gujarat is getting 2008. Karnataka is 1985. This is the data. HDFC has spent, this is the national data. HDFC has spent 803 crores. TCS has given 774. Reliance has given 743. ICICI has given 476. Tata Steel has given 475 crores. ONGC has given 453. Infosys has given 390. Now, in the next graph, you see what is the contribution by non-PSU organization, which is 25,891 crores. What is the contribution by the PSUs, which is 4,095 crores, right? This is also on the basis, this data tells you that number of companies who have given more than prescribed, right? And this is this data for the companies who have given less than prescribed, exactly prescribed, and this is less than prescribed. This is 0, and this is total number of companies, right? So this data is there. Based on this, you need to find out that what is the area which you want to work upon. You can spend on education, you can work upon health, you can work upon women empowerment, you can work upon rural development. It completely depends upon which area or where exactly you are operating in. Depending upon that, you will be able to get the answer for this. When we create the measure, how to measure the impact or how to measure the social return on an investment. So when you're creating a project, you have to identify what are the inputs, resource that will be used to support the project, who all are there, right? Like, for example, funding, all sources of funding, staff, board of directors, community partners, in-kind contributors, external vendors, and baseline data, right? And then once that is defined, you also talk about the activities. What are the main activities which has to be done? So what are the things? So who are the established partners? Research and analyzing existing programs, provide high quality training, develop curriculum, conduct workshops, hold convening, establish an advisory group. This is for various. This is a kindergarten school which is based out of Bangalore, and we do it for them. Then outputs. So what is the output? Lesson plan, 80 mathematics classes, 80 English classes, 80 Kannada classes, and conducted in the school. So examples are basically people engaged, participants, community sector, partners, employees, curriculum materials developed, policies created, publications issued, survey conducted. All these are part of that. Here we have the outcomes, 220 working days. So breakfast and lunch together, 440. Physical education, 54 hours. School visits for by curriculum supervisor, 40 school visits has to be done. Workshops for teachers, 2 teacher training sessions, 10 for 10 teachers, 15 days, 75 hours. Library setup, what kind of books has to be put over there, sponsorship, scholarship, and all these are there. So you define it very clearly. You give that this is what is the output. And based on that, you create the outcomes of it. Now, what do we have outcomes? We have short-term outcomes where we talk about children will get used to routine school environment, through guided discovery program and know the importance of health, etc. So examples are high school students have increased awareness of technical career opportunities, staff measurably improve their instruction skills, more participants enter workforce with 21st century skills, diversification of audience, attendees, community members demonstrate understanding of the benefits of energy conservation, right? So this is one of the examples of writing. And then we also give the indicators. So what are the indicators? So cleanliness checklists provided to managers to measure the improvement and then cross-checked by the curriculum supervisors during their visits. So it is both quantitative and qualitative, right? We must use SMART goals to make these checklists or make these indicators. And we track the number and percentage change that directly relate to baseline data entered in the inputs section of this form. Then intermediate is basically results, the rate of absenteeism lesser than attendees, attendance gone up from 86% to 94%. So improved retention, more effective classroom instruction, increased number of job placements. I mean, this is not for KG, but this is just an example, right? What you can fill over there. Then indicators. Soft and hard copy of the student attendance register is maintained by the manager. Regular follow-ups are conducted, and to ensure that there is less absenteeism. 95% of the students improve and performed well in their half-yearly exam evaluation. Each student was individually evaluated by the curriculum supervisor. The report cards are maintained. And then finally, you have the impact that we are talking about. So what is the impact? So impact is, this is the long-term impact, which is after 1 year. So 95% students that pass out of our 3-year kindergarten program continue their education in English medium elementary schools, right? So increase regional economic vitality, increase social bonds and community. And that is how you define in this. Right? So this is a basic way of doing things. Similarly, you have formats for STEM learning. Then this is for STEM learning. This is for health organizations, health services. That's how you can actually maintain it. Reporting is important. So this is one of the set of reportings which I used to do earlier it's called GRI reporting for gas companies. So there are like 750 criteria on which this reporting is done, where it is seen that how the organization is impacting the environment, the society, and the people in general. Then what is the profit of the organization? What are the policies which are in tandem with the global UN global impact principles? Then human rights, executive leadership and management structures, evaluation of ESG disclosures, evaluation of the CSR and human capital and human rights has to be maintained. So there are, I think, if I'm not wrong, more than 600 criteria are there on which they are evaluated. This is a report that we create for various organizations. This goes to UN and Forbes, right? Been working on it since I think since 2008. So this is in nutshell. I think did I answer your question?
Yeah, you did. You
Yeah.
did. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a whole new paradigm within. So
Yeah. In fact,
thank
this, if you want to go deeper into it, we also have a course, CSR
Okay.
course, which we are launching in November. That
Okay.
I'll just give you an idea about it. Let
Okay.
me just, yeah. This is a generalist CSR course, which is self-learning and online bootcamp is there.
Okay.
And the certification has 6 hours on-demand video, 9 quizzes are there, blended learning, 9
Wow.
modules are there. What you get is blended learning methodology, blockchain verified credentials from accredible organizations, and assessment in partnership with Mercer Metal, always on chat support on multiple channels embedded in this thing. The highlights are basically established proof of competency with a globally recognized certification, Mercer Metal, acquire a digital certificate, and then complementary access to career resources and job search assistance to accelerate career growth. You can take the exam from your home. Practical learning from industry professionals and consultants to Fortune 100 companies. You get unlimited access to CCSR course session recordings for 1 year. Comprehensive learning experience through high quality learning sessions. Be a part of global network of credentials holders across 60 countries. Learning outcomes of CSR course. What you learn is understand the evolution and significance of CSR in India, analyze their legislative frameworks and recent CSR notifications, develop comprehensive CSR policies and documentation, apply project management to plan and evaluate CSR projects, evaluate monitoring and assessment methods for CSR effectiveness, and create detailed CSR reports with frameworks and indicators, implement SROI and theory of change to measure CSR impact, and conduct social audits for transparency and accountability in CSR programs. These are the modules that we have: introduction to CSR, legislative framework, policy board, CSR committee and documentation, CSR project management, and A to Z of monitoring and evaluation, CSR reporting, theory of change, and SROI, social audits, and CSR accounting and guidelines. So methodology of this session is pre-recorded sessions, activities and case-based discussions, presentations, quiz, expert lead, ICP session. This is the badge you will get. This is the kind of certificate which you will be awarded. We are expecting to start a session on 30th of November. The cost is 21,903 for self-paced, but as of now, anyone of you who are attending this session, you can enroll for the self-paced and you will get the blended learning one in the same amount. So there would be 6 to 7 sessions which I will take on Saturdays for 3 hours. That's the price difference that you have. This is going to be changed because earlier we were launching on 19th, but now it has been pushed to November. Yeah. We are having a CSR roundtable and CSR summit with Karnataka Digital Economy Mission in the coming days. Hence, we are pushing it a little further.
And is it only once that you conduct, or is it like a batch that one could consider at 25?
It's a batch. Usually we have around 25 to 30 people in a batch. Hello?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, for impact assessment, I think yeah, we require more time. Usually, any session on impact assessment, which I conduct, takes at minimum 3 to 4 days. That's the basic which I'm talking about, because it's very deep and there are a lot of things which we work upon there. Mehreen, what exactly you need to know about CSR policy in India? Mary, I see your question.
I was
Hello?
asking about the CSR policy in India, which we were talking about the net worth about 500 crore and the role of the board. So I was just asking about that slide.
Oh, you want to see that again?
Yes.
Okay, I'll just open it for you. This is the one.
Yes, can you a bit explain it?
Okay. So, if the company's net worth is 500 crores, or the turnover is 1,000 crores, or say net profit is 5 crore and above, in either of these conditions, the company is liable to follow the mandate. They come under the purview of the mandate of CSR policy, right? Now, how much do they have to spend? They have to spend 2% of their profit, which is the average profit of the last 3 years, right? Which means currently we are in 2024 and 25. So the profit of 23 and 24, the profit of 22 and 23 and 21 and 22, the average of these three, whatever is the profit of that amount, you have to give 2% towards the CSR, right? Under CSR, we have the rules of board as well as CSR committee. So the board of the company, they form the CSR committee and they approve the CSR policy. They ensure that the implementation of activities happens under CSR, and they also ensure that 2% is dispatched towards the spend. And finally, they are also responsible for disclosing the reason for not spending the money. And now there is a penalty also. So the penalty would be at least 5 lakh rupees per member, per board member, and per CSR committee. And it could be anything between 25 lakhs to 2 CR, or depending upon whatever is the amount that they have spent. In fact, as per the news, I might have the clipping somewhere, but what I read was last year 10 companies were fined for not complying the policy, right? And each one of them were fined more than 1 CR. The CSR committee, there are 3 members in CSR committee. One member has to be an independent director. They must formulate and recommend CSR policy to the board, recommend activities and the amount of expenditure to be incurred, and monitor the entire CSR policy from time to time. And they are the one who are responsible for implementation of the CSR policy and the project also. Right. Is it clear, Mary?
Yes, yes, thank you so much.
Okay. Any other question? Anything extra? Sonak, are you there? Sonak is the one whom you can reach out to. And if you guys want to register now, you can register today and tomorrow. There is festive occasion. The registration link would be shared both in the WhatsApp group and can be shared here as well. Right, Sonak?
Yes, now I'll share the details.
You can share it over here right now.
Yeah, definitely.
If anyone wants to. And please share it in the group as well, WhatsApp group.
Sure.
Right. Great. Any further questions? Any other things which you want to know about CSR? Anything which I can cover, or I can quickly, you know. And last thing which I can share is this: there is an FAQ available on the website of. Yeah. This is a circular which came on 25th of August 2021, and I mean, all the questions are answered over here. Like, for example, which companies qualify for CSR, that is mentioned over here. Whether a holding or a subsidiary of a company fulfilling the criteria under Section 135 has to comply with provisions of Section 135, even if the holding or subsidiary itself does not fulfill the criteria. So the answer is no. You can read the details of it over here. Then whether provisions of CSR are applicable to a Section 8 company, yes, it is applicable to a Section 8 company. So which means if I'm registered as a Section 8 company, if my turnover is crossing I mean 1,000 crores, or if I'm also having a valuation of 500 crores, then I also fall into the purview of CSR policy, which means I also have to give 2% of my profit, right? So whether CSR provisions apply to a company that has not completed the period of 3 financial years since its incorporation, yes, it applies. What is the composition of CSR committee? Now, this is the composition for listed companies, 3 or more directors, out of which at least one shall be independent director. Unlisted public companies, there are 3 or more directors, out of which at least one shall be the independent director. However, if there is no requirement of having an independent director in the company, 2 or more directors are allowed. Private companies, 2 or more directors, no independent directors are required, as mentioned in the proviso section 135(1) clause 1. Foreign company, at least 2 persons, out of which one shall be specified under clause D of subsection. I mean, that for that we have to visit that particular subsection of 30 of the Act, and another shall be nominated by the foreign company, right? Where the amount required to be spent by a company on CSR does not exceed 50 lakh rupees, the requirement for constitution of the CSR committee is not mandatory, and the function of the CSR committee in such cases shall be discharged by the board of directors of the company, right? What are the functions of CSR committee? So these are certain functions. What are the responsibilities of the board? That is mentioned over here. What is the role of the government in the approval and implementation of the CSR projects of a company? Then what are the mechanisms? CSR expenditure. So it has around 52 questions. Sorry. Around 100 FAQs are there. 104. This will give you answers to a lot of questions which are there in your mind. This is the provision which came. Sorry. So the FAQs have around 104 questions, exactly 104 questions, and that will answer your questions. So that's it. That is from my end. As an individual, if he's donating, then it's absolutely fine. CSR committee member can donate individually, but I don't know how the donation is being made. It can be made as from the company's. Yeah, I mean, Rotary Club can get the individual donation is separate from corporate social responsibility. Any NGO can receive money both from the individuals as well as from the corporate. There are two types of donations. One is basically the unrestricted funds, and the other one is the restricted fund. Restricted funds are CSR funds or grants or any of these institutional donations which come to them for a project, right? Unrestricted fund is basically given by individual celebrities or through crowdfunding, but you get. Yeah, company CSR funds is basically a restricted fund. So what is the question here, Sharad? If you can just explain it a little bit for me. Sharad? Are you there, Sharad? The position holding by one authority. And what is the position? What you are talking about? What are the position being held by that person? You can unmute yourself and you can ask the question, Sharad. It'll be easy.
Sir,
Yeah.
you are hearing me?
Yeah. Please tell me.
One of the director of the company who is also CSR committee member, and he is also voluntarily a Rotary Club official president. So company fund is being diverted mostly to the Rotary Club, which location that person is a chairman. So the basic purpose of CSR is served or not?
So it can be implemented. So Rotary can be one of the implementing partners.
But conflict of interest.
And why is there a conflict of interest?
Because why not other Rotary Club?
It is only the discretion of the organization.
But that discretion is influenced.
Sorry?
That discretion is influenced by the authority.
No, why it is influenced? Because there is a transparency. See, if anything goes wrong, he is the one who will be liable for it. I'm not sure whether the person is holding the position or not, but yeah, I mean, of course, that will be conflict of interest. If the person, I mean, I can't comment without knowing the details of this, unless until I get the clarity that, okay, what exactly is the detail of it. The person is holding a position in NGO.
Because one of the union is objecting why is that director is so much keen to donate to Rotary rather than giving it to any tribal area.
It is completely on the discretion of the organization. There is no rule which says that they can give. See, the policy says that they can spend the money within 200 kilometers of the organization, right? So they're not bound to spend any other place in any other place. It is completely in the discretion of the committee and the board.
Yes.
Yeah, nobody can object on that. See, if the company says that we do not want to go to a space which is away, and if it is easy for them to control, see, ultimately the directors and the CSR committee members, they are the one who are going to be punished. And there is one of the penalty is that they can also be jailed, which has not been implemented yet. This is a provision there. So they can be jailed for minimum 6 months to 3 years, right? So everyone will ensure that, okay, this is done in such a way that there is no discrepancy in the longer run. They will try to safeguard themselves. But when you are saying that why not any other, there could be multiple reasons. Maybe the due diligence of the organization who's coming, they are not efficient enough to implement. So there could be n number of reasons. So at this stage, I would not be able to comment unless I see that why the person is not, or I see the documents. No, that would be a thing.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you.
Venkata, Rajesh, actually, that is a huge question, and I would suggest that, if you can enroll yourself for that particular CCSR certification, you'll get the answer for how to approach corporate for a CSR, how NGOs can approach corporate for CSR funds. Right. Good. Thank you so much, all of you. Thank you for being patient and listening to me so patiently. I hope I was able to add value to all of you. So I'll take your leave and hope to see you in the course, in the program that we offer. You're already the part of that particular group. If you have any doubts or any questions, you can actually place your questions over there, put your questions over there. I would definitely try to answer as much as I can. Right. Pardon me if I take time, because there is a possibility that my turnaround time for responding would be more than 48 hours. Right. So I might take time, but I'll definitely respond. Thank you. Have a nice evening. Take care.